My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today's guest is Ryann Halo, and she is the founder and CEO over at Salon Halo Salons and Halo Consulting and Education. And we got a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get into the Grow and Glow methodology. I understand Ryann has a mastermind coming up, and of course I want to get into her entrepreneurial journey and the salons and the success there. But just to get started, Ryann, welcome to the show. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, so I understand that you were referred over to us by Juliana Strout over at the SRQ Women's Expo, and we've been covering that expo, which is coming up, and we're excited about it. I gotta ask, are you ready? I know you're a speaker, and you're gonna be presenting. Like, are you ready? Are you pumped?
Oh yeah, I'm always ready.
Yeah, so tell me more. What are you gonna be talking about? Give us a little bit of a flavor for the content and what you have coming up.
Yeah, so I have a kind of a extensive, unique path to where I am today. Where I'm focusing my time now is using my experience in growing multiple businesses to seven figures with a team to help primarily female entrepreneurs scale their businesses with their team so that they can have more personal freedom.
That's
so
great.
I'll be getting into that a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Love to bring on mission-based individuals who have had, some success in their past and want to pay it forward and to teach others as well. So I guess just to get this kicked off, Ryann, how did you get started as an entrepreneur? Like, where did all that start for you?
Well, so today I have between me and my husband, we have 9 companies. My most notable.
So you're not busy at all, right? Go ahead.
I threw that here and there, yeah. But it's all fun. So, what else am I doing with my time? So, my most notable company where I really learned the Grow and Glow method and cultivated that is Salon Halo, one of the top 200 salons in North America. We have a very strong team retention between our 3 locations, and we're at multiple 7 figures. So with that said, most people that know me now think I probably always wanted to do that. I always knew I wanted to have salons, and that is absolutely not the case. So growing up, I really was made to believe that my path to success could only lie in going to college, and the best college possible. I come from a lower middle income family, but my mom was a really hard worker, and she went to nursing school when I was a kid. And I was the only kid in 3rd grade that was getting bused over to a different school for the gifted program. So that's where I got that perspective that you're gifted, you're academically talented, and that's how you become a success. And that was what I accepted as reality. And then fast forward some years, 11 years old, my life really changed for everybody when my dad committed suicide and also took the life of my 6-year-old brother. So that was the big turning point from you have a stable, conventional family to everything changes. My mom actually developed a prescription drug addiction, and that led to me dropping out of school at 15. So believing that college was the only choice for me and that was the only path to my success, to having that being taken away with no real control over it led to, it was definitely the most dark and hopeless time that I've ever experienced, because I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see a next step or the path. And with that, was definitely on the verge of there was a lot of opiates in my town at that time. I was just kind of in the wind, and it could have went a lot of different directions, but I was holding out this hope for something. I was really resisting, trying the drugs, doing the thing. I was right on teetering on that edge, I was like, what was the point of not doing it? It was this very pivotal time. So this woman came in, actually came by somebody's house that I was at, and she was a hairdresser. And my aunt, I had shampooed for my aunt growing up from 12 years old. So I never looked at the beauty industry as a path to professional career success. But this woman offered me $25 a day to be her assistant. So with that, I jumped on the opportunity, being that that was 25 cheeseburgers. Like that was something to do with my days. That wasn't all the darkness that I was really having to kind of fight off on a daily basis. And with that, I quickly discovered the value of customer service, of how really it's how you apply yourself and not just a one-size-fits-all possibility in a given industry. So before you know it, the owner's offering me $50 a day when I'm not working for my mentor, and then I'm making tips on tips on tips from just upgrading people to different treatments and running to the store by foot because I didn't have a license or car for the other employees. And I just was hustling. And yeah, that's where it just multiplied. And I immediately realized that I felt good by providing a great experience and value for other people, but that was reflected in the amount of money that I was making. And at one point I was making $100 a day in this small town as a 15, 16-year-old dropout. Wow. And I also learned that hair was not just something to it's not like playing dress up. There's chemistry, science, geometry, systemization. So it was all about how you approached it. So I had seen a very different side of the industry, and that was really just the tip of the iceberg about what could be accomplished through that avenue.
What an amazing story, and I'm so curious. When you're kind of hooked in. Of course, this is really a lifeline. I'm using that word. You did not, but to another path, or it's just you're pulled to it. Did you get excited more? And maybe it's one versus the other. Was it the business side? Was it the beauty side? A combination? The whole thing? Where was the how did it keep you hooked and keep you entertained and just keep you in the game? How'd that happen? What excited you the most at that time?
I think that it was the multiple areas that were stimulating to me. It was well-rounded. Being somebody that did fairly well in school with the logical side of my brain, but also being a singer and a painter and loving art and loving people, it just hit all those.
So you had both sides. This was the perfect storm for you. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really what it was. So I could use my logic, and I caught on really quickly to some of the more technical aspects. But then it was artistic and personable, so that was fun too. And then on top of that, I was making money, and it felt really good to see a quantifiable result for my efforts and my talents. So once I realized that it was scientific and I was good at it. I was doing everybody's hair. I would be at parties, everybody, high school parties, drinking and stuff, and doing people's hair in foils in a kitchen and sending them to showers to wash their hair. So that was my start. That was my humble beginnings.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And so what was your next steps, if I can paint a picture? So now you're in the business, you're getting your feet wet, you're making money, you're doing it on a certain level, I'll say, and you're still young. What was your next step? When did you feel, or was there a turning point? Was it a progression? When did you say, you know what, this is going to be something I spend a significant amount of my, life on, and I want to build a business out of this? When did that happen?
If I'm honest, if I really think about the path, there was a little bit of resistance. It got comfortable really quick. I was just in a nice flow with this mentor. We were doing that for, I don't even know, time is, so hard to say. It was maybe 6 months or so. And we were doing really well, and there was some hinting at going to hair school, but I was still conflicted with oh no, am I going to be settling? Am I going to be making the most of this potential I was told I had? And it's always been just deeply ingrained in me that I wanted to make the most out of my life. I don't really know what that looked like, but as my awareness grew, I still knew I wanted to make the most of it. So I was fighting that a little bit, but what really pushed me to take that turn at the time, I had gotten accused of stealing like clips and capes and the silliest things, honestly. And it was really hurtful at the time because I was just so happy and so grateful, and I looked up to the owner as an old man and and his daughter who ran the salon, and then it was the service providers, the employees, and I was just so grateful for that opportunity and making such good money. When I got accused, I was like really upset, and then that was the step that pushed me to go to hair school. So I have to say, I probably, who knows how much longer I would have stayed in my small town being an assistant and just like having fun or whatever I was doing. Yeah. So I went to school and I signed up for school at 16 because that was like the push. Wow. Okay, now you got to make another choice. So all these different moments in my life, I have these crossroads I can clearly now distinguish that pushed me to this other path, this next step. And I do believe it's God or whatever the higher entity that you believe in that was presenting to me something bigger than what I could imagine at that time. So bigger, my life is better than if I was a lawyer. My life is better than if I was, I have like 5 instances of this. Yeah. So I went to hair school at 16, I was going to say, and I still had multiple pivots where I didn't even want to own a salon at that point. I was the youngest person in the school, and I was like, I want to be a freelance artist. So, continued to pivot as it came.
It's interesting how these paths work and, what God has in store for us and how we play our part. I want to jump around a bit here. So present day, and thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for sharing. I think it's super inspiring for myself, for one, and then hopefully for our audience that are on their own paths, right? Like the ups, the downs, the everything in between. I can tell you, I didn't go to school to be a podcaster. I didn't think this was going to be part of my future, but I love it. Like that's in hindsight, though, and all these crossroads and things. So it's part of the journey. I just like to bring that out, just if somebody's listening to this and they're at their own crossroads, to just let you know, hey, we all go through it. So it is, so you'll be okay. Jumping around a bit here, Ryann. So Salon Halo Salons. So now you've built, as you mentioned in the intro, multiple 7-figure business. And I know one of the things that you're passionate about is equipping and empowering others and your team members at all your salon locations. Like, go into that a bit. How are you doing that?
Well, when I got the salon, it was kind of plopped in my lap. That was one of the crossroads of you can have the salon or not. And I at this point, it was my 21st birthday. So I had some time as a freelance artist. I was really making my way in that fun, glitzy, glammy world. And then I had the opportunity to start the salon. I did not know what I didn't know. I didn't realize how poorly my communication skills had been developed growing up. Like, there were so many things that I didn't possess as a leader. So I had to throw myself into figuring out over the first however many years what it's going to take to build this vision. Like, the vision was to have team members, employees, a happy community, not your traditional salon, not the ego-driven situation, and a place where people felt accepted. So I did a lot of study from different leadership experts like John Maxwell and just so many people. And I learned that it is not about the fact that it isn't my name on the building with being the most sought after hairstylist, the best, the most knowledgeable. This vision is meant to show me how to empower people to reach their success. And you have to make a huge shift from being the top service provider to being a leader. There's huge shifts involved in making that change, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. But I knew that I was very fulfilled when I saw my team members reaching a goal, or when we as a collective were creating something really astonishing, and that's where I realized that's what it takes. So, I mean, there's a lot of steps in my methodology now of how we've been able to achieve those best results. But one key point I'll say is establishing with each individual team member what their own definition of success is for themselves. So some people, it's like they want to make the most money possible and they don't mind how hard they have to hustle and they're ready for all the tools to get there. Other people, it's I want to be able to have what it takes to wean down my schedule to work the minimum amount of time to just make enough to get by in a comfortable place and spend most time with my family. So you have to know what's important to them before anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go further into the Grow and Glow methodology. I'm highly interested in it, especially now that we have a bit of your backstory. Like, go a little bit further, please. Tell us some more.
Yeah, so for me, I mentioned how I've self-studied a ton of leadership, personal development.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized that I had some serious gaps in my ability to do what I needed to do, and started to invest in myself through many different resources so I could fill in those gaps and elevate my strengths. And that is a huge part of our method. And it's not just one thing. So there's been times where me and the organization had to really focus on understanding who we are as people with personality assessments, then transitioning into communication exercises and methods to achieve a higher level of communication standards for a diverse team of people. There's been times where we've focused heavily on what our key performance indicators are and should be, and then creating the systems that support those outcomes, key performance indicators. There's methodology around how to best train a team on those systems and KPIs to where you're not just delegating, oh, you're in charge of this task. It's much deeper. I have a method called the STORE method. So it shows, tell, observe, redirect, and encourage. So if I'm going to teach somebody, whether it's a technical skill set like a haircut or how to do something at the front desk, I'm going to show them, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to watch them do it, I'm going to redirect where necessary, and I'm going to encourage where they're doing well. So it's so holistic for me how we approach our success. The Grow and Glow method starts with the vision phase, like getting clarity. Do we have clear mission statement, core values, key roles, are all the job descriptions on paper? Like, these are things that a lot of service providing businesses overlook. And it's because so many of us start a business because we do the service well. But that doesn't grow a successful business. That grows a successful individual maybe in that craft. So, man, I could just talk about this stuff for hours.
Well, Ryann, I will say I know we barely scratched the surface here, and I know you have so much more to offer. But that being said, we appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story. I want you to tell our audience where people can follow up, they can learn more, follow your journey, learn more. Also, I understand you have a mastermind coming up. Like, how do people get information on that? Like give us some follow up for the audience so that they can connect and continue the conversation.
Yes, I'd love to see everybody on the mastermind. It starts August 1st, 2024. We got about a month from now, depending on when this posts.
This will be out in the next 5 business days, so they're going to have plenty of time. Fantastic. Go ahead.
So my main platform that I'm actually active on that you'll get me directly is Instagram, and I'm Ryann_Halo. But you're welcome to find all of my resources on my website, and it's just Ryann Halo. And Ryann is spelled Ryann. So it's just Ryann like a boy's name, but with an extra N, and then Halo like an angel.
Amazing. Halo like an angel, and that's a great way to end it. And we appreciate all that you're doing, Ryann, and to empower your team and to be a model of really motivation and an entrepreneur out there, a successful entrepreneur. For my audience, everybody tuning in, I will put all the links to Ryann's social and all the other good stuff and the website in the show notes, so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters, this is a daily show. That means each and every day we're releasing new episodes. We're bringing on new entrepreneurs, new thought leaders, and hopefully giving you new ideas to inspire you along the way on your journey as well. So I have a lot of fun doing this. If you had fun listening, then definitely hit that subscribe or that follow button, because I want you to get that notification tomorrow, because guess what's coming up tomorrow? Another episode, another entrepreneur. We don't want you to miss that. So again, subscribe or follow. And Ryann, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Truly inspiring.
It was very fun. Thank you for having me.